But President Trump, unapologetic and not done yet. That was his message last night in his first major address to a joint session of the second term, celebrating the sweeping changes he has implemented in his first 43 days in office. Nearly 100 minutes in length that speech was, and he said a lot in those 100 minutes. But how much of it now needs to be fact-checked and clarified? CNN's Daniel Dale has taken a look, and he's joining us now. Daniel, first, let's talk about something. I heard you saying that this is the one that has stuck out the most to you, and that's why I wanted to start with it. The president touting his DOGE efforts and the sweeping cuts that they put into place. He spoke at length last night about finding fraud in Social Security payments. Let's play this.
3.9 million people from ages 130 to 139. 3.5 million people from ages 140 to 149. And money is being paid to many of them because it just keeps getting paid and nobody does. And it really hurts Social Security and hurts our country. And one person is listed at 360 years of age, more than 100 years older than our country.
Daniel, what did you find?
I found that this is wildly misleading at best. So the president is at least strongly suggesting that millions of obviously dead people, 200-year-olds, 300-year-olds, are receiving Social Security benefits. That is not the case. And that's because he didn't explain something critical. While there is a well-known issue with people's deaths not being marked in the Social Security database, that does not mean those people are still getting money, because Social Security has an automated system to automatically cut off people who are listed as being 115 years old or older. Now, I'll give you some specifics. In 2023, the Inspector General, who oversees the Social Security Administration, looked into this, found that about 19 million people didn't have their deaths marked in the database, even though they were 100 years old or over. So not good, an issue that has to be fixed. But the Inspector General also found that only 44,000 of those about 19 million were actually getting money. And I spoke to a conservative expert about this. He said the vast majority of even those 44,000 are likely to be legit payments, given that about 86,000 people were alive in the U.S. at age 100 or older. Now, we have more recent data from Social Security. It shows that about 89,000 people age 99 or older, not millions, were receiving Social Security benefits as of December 2024. So these numbers in the millions are just way, way off.
Yeah, I mean, look, my grandmother lived to be 107, so she was one of those people that was getting those Social Security benefits.
They're suggesting that's fraud, and it's not.
And the acting head of the Social Security Administration has even spoken out to knock this one down. So
Yes, Trump appointed.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on to the president speaking about military aid to Ukraine. Let's play this.
Europe has sadly spent more money buying Russian oil and gas than they have spent on defending Ukraine, by far. Think of that. They've spent more buying Russian oil and gas than they have defending. And we've spent perhaps $350 billion, like taking candy from a baby. That's what happened. And they've spent $100 billion.
What did you find here?
The president keeps using those numbers, 350 billion from us, 100 billion from Europe. Those are both imaginary figures. So there's a German think tank that closely tracks U.S. and European aid to Ukraine. It has consistently found that Europe has collectively provided way more aid to Ukraine than the U.S. has, rather than the reverse, like the president keeps saying. I'll get more specific. In terms of aid committed, it's about 263 billion for Europe to about half that, 126 billion from the U.S. In terms of aid actually allocated, they found it's about 140 billion for Europe to about 121 billion for the U.S. Now, you can get different numbers if you use different counting methodologies, but even the U.S. government's own figures have not come anywhere close to the 350 billion the president keeps using.
It is so interesting, and that context is so important. Then there's this moment on efforts to combat climate change. Let me play this here.
I terminated the ridiculous Green New Scam. I withdrew from the unfair Paris Climate Accord, which was costing us trillions of dollars that other countries were not paying.
What is he referring to?
So it's not exactly clear what he's talking about when he says the Green New scam. The Green New Deal was a contentious, broad, progressive Democratic congressional resolution. The thing is, though, it was never actually passed. Now, President Biden did, of course, sign a major climate environmental law known as the Inflation Reduction Act, but President Trump has not terminated that. It would take an act of Congress to terminate it. So while he has reversed some of Biden's environmental policies, I don't know what he means. And then this claim the Paris Climate Accord was costing us trillions is just not true. The Paris Climate Accord allowed countries to set their own voluntary standards for cutting emissions, so it didn't impose direct costs on countries that way. And in terms of direct U.S. spending, well, President Biden said we were going to spend about $11 billion per year, but Congress appropriated only a fraction of that. Even $11 billion wouldn't have been trillion, but we didn't even get to that level, Kate.
All right. A lot to go through in a nearly 100-minute speech for sure. Long night for you, but we really appreciate all of the context this morning, Daniel. Thank you.